Hi. How's everyone doing? I'm going to hope that I sound okay. My my assistant, my production assistant is not here. You all probably know him as my husband. He is running errands. He taught class today, and so I decided to go live. Let's see. Hello, Carol. Can you hear me all right? Let me know if you can. Um, oh, see, I'm already having an issue. There we go. Okay. I have Spectrum internet, so it's a little wonky. Spectrum, it's not the best. So that's what I'm using. It's a warm day today. I have my air conditioner on, so I'm hoping that it's that you can hear me clearly right now. Okay, so loud and clear. Thank you very much. So the election is around the corner. It is in 56 days. It's in 8 weeks. I want you to really take that in. The election is in 8 weeks from today. We have 8 weeks to really focus and to organize and to vote Joe Biden in and to vote Donald Trump out. Right? 8 weeks. It's not a long time. I kind of wanted to talk to you. Hello, David. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things that have been bothering me this week with the way people have been handling the election, discussing it on their multimedia platforms, whether it be on Facebook or Twitter or IG or on Medium or their podcasts. I want to start with an issue that I had in particular with Roxane Gay and Tressie McMillan, both very intellectual, talented women. I want to say that right off the bat. And it's their podcast, and that's their platform to express themselves the way that they want to. They have absolutely that right to do so. That is not the issue that I have. The issue that I have is they were kind of tearing apart Kamala Harris. And one line that struck me right away was they said at the beginning of their podcast, hi. One of the things that they said at the beginning of their podcast was, just because she's Black and South Asian does not mean that's progress. Doesn't necessarily mean that's progress. And of course, right, this is the idea that not all skin folk or kinfolk, like we'd say that about a Candace Owens, right? She's clearly hard right-leaning in her politics and her ideology. And it's really painful, the stuff that Candace spews. However, my issue with what Roxane Gay said was they're starting to tear apart Kamala Harris before they're even elected. And this is what I want people to understand. And I really want this to be clear. And I want people, when you're talking to your relatives or your friends or someone that's just like, I just don't know how I feel about that. The way that I feel about it is I don't care about your feelings, because this election is not about feelings. Do you understand that? This election is not about feelings. This election is about whether we're going to continue to have a democracy or we're going to move into an autocracy. We're going to have Trump is an autocrat in the making. He is, right? We've seen already that he wants to silence the press, maybe dismantle the press, have state-run media like he has with Fox, that he's already fine with arresting protesters off the street. That happened in Portland. It happened in New York, by the way. So this is not an election about feelings. I don't really care how you feel about Joe Biden or how you feel about Kamala Harris. Because when you say something like that, that makes me feel like you know very little about policy. You know very little about your state, local elections, and what the federal government does. They already said Roxanne and Tressie said, well, the vice president doesn't legislate. That is not true. They straddle, the VP straddles the houses of the executive branch and the legislative branch. Okay? They are part of legislative decisions and policy making. Kamala Harris would be a senior advisor to the president. And if you don't know this, Joe Biden was a senior advisor to Obama. He negotiated that. Vice presidents can negotiate what their job description will entail. Okay? So it's ridiculous to say, well, it's kind of more of a glamour position and it really doesn't matter that much. No, it's very critical. And having Kamala Harris as vice president is critical for so many reasons, but one of them is just for representation, right? Because part of what happens with the executive branch, what happens in the White House, are these people are an idea. And they are a guide in what our country and our philosophy is going to be about. It's not the only philosophy that our country is supposed to be about, but you can see how Trump being the figurehead in the White House has completely changed a couple things that are critical, right? He has made white supremacy completely acceptable. It's complete. He has made it, he has normalized white supremacy. He's normalized militias. I don't like to say militias. I think they're domestic terrorists because they are there to terrorize people that are peacefully protesting. They are terrorizing people, right? So calling them militias, I said it on Twitter, is like a euphemism to like lighten up the word militia, okay? Trump being in office has had a negative ripple effect, not just in our domestic policies, but our foreign policies and how other countries view us. So this election is it's not something that's not a big deal. When someone like Brianna, who used to worked for Bernie Sanders, says, "Oh, I'm sorry that I froze for a second. Tell me if I'm not frozen anymore." It's my internet. If I'm not frozen, let me know. Let me see. I'm gonna myself right now. Let's see if we froze. Am I still frozen? Okay. Okay. I should not be frozen anymore because I just checked my internet. I'm sorry, my connection is not fabulous. Am I still frozen? Am I still frozen? Oh, I see myself right now. Okay, great. I was saying that Brianna, who worked for Bernie Sanders, she and a couple of other, thank you very much. She and a couple of other people, I'm going to take off my jacket because I'm getting sweaty because I'm ranting. She and a couple of other self-described leftists have said, you know, I'm not going to vote for Bernie. I'm not going to vote for Biden because if we get Trump again, you know, that's going to really cause the revolution and we're going to really get to start over again. That makes me feel like those people know literally nothing about not only policy, but our history and how things have worked in democracies, right? Why do they think that, let's do a thought experiment. Say like we just burned down this entire democracy, right? Let's say like what happens to us is what happened in Belarus, right? Do you know what's happening in Belarus? The president there rigged the election and now there's massive protests. That guy is taking the credentials away from the press. He is jailing people. Who knows what else he is doing to them right now? That's backwards way to think about it. Bree has it wrong. Yes, Bree is completely wrong about it. And I'm saying why it's wrong to think that if we just elect Trump again, we'll burn it down and we'll start again. Do you think that for some reason that if we burn it down, that all of a sudden we're going to reorder hierarchies? I don't believe in hierarchies. I think all hierarchies should be torn down. Not just patriarchy, but matriarchy. There should be no hierarchies. Because what would happen in a matriarchy, right? White women would probably still figure out a way to have powerful positions at the top, right? These are gross power dynamics that are complicated and fraught. And right now, our best way to fix some of our issues is through a democracy. Through a democracy. If you're looking at how other countries run their elections, in Belarus, like I said, it's not working. And right, Emerald just said opposition poisoning. We just saw what happened to Navalny in Russia. He was poisoned by Putin, by controlled substance that the KGB, now they call them FSB there, has. So we know it's connected to Putin. Killing opposition. And I understand that we seem very numb to these ideas of like, well, our country could never do that. Our country's already moving in that position. How could you not think that? If you're having, today the FBI called these white-led militias, these white domestic terrorists, they are calling them dangerous. They're saying that white supremacy is a threat to our society. That is what the FBI said, okay? So what I'm saying is this idea of saying, well, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden is absurd, it's ridiculous, it's nonsense, and it should be shut down. By the way, it's voter suppression. That is a form of voter suppression. It is. If you're trying to cause apathy with people, if you're trying to say to them, well, you know, I don't really see how anything's going to change. You're trying to cause, that's voter apathy, that's a form of voter suppression. You should shut that down. If you see it on the internet, report that tweet. If you see it on Facebook, report them on Facebook. They should not be put to, everybody has a right to have their own opinion, but some of these people are in powerful positions or have big platforms to be able to share this type of messaging, okay? I'm gonna say it again. A vote for Trump is a vote for Trump. A vote for Biden is a vote for Biden. A vote for third party is a vote for Trump. A vote for, a non-vote is a vote for Trump. Those all count. They do. It doesn't work the other way around, okay? So we vote for Biden, and we want to, and that by voting for Biden, we're saying that we want to keep a democracy and that we want to fix this democracy and that we want equity. That means everybody has equal access to resources, that we want equal access, that we want to have not just diversity and representation, but we want inclusion, like real inclusion, right? On everything. In the media, like look at the media. 1/4 of Americans are disabled. Are 1/4 of the media disabled? Not that I know of, not that I see, not that's been discussed, right? So we're missing lots of representation. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by keeping our democracy, and we're going to do that through policy, by creating policy that creates these ideas. And by the way, again, I've said this over and over again, if you don't like what's going on, you can run for office. A lot of times that people, when they say to me, I don't think anything is going to change. I ask them, what policies do you want to change? And they realize that they're not really sure which policies are causing some issues in their own life. And I've gone and I've sat with people and talked to them about what they think the policies are that are affecting them. And then I talk and tell them who handles that. Is that a city council issue? Is that a state legislative issue? Is that a federal level position? And by the way, someone said to me yesterday, well, maybe we can inspire people to focus on the local level in case they don't care about the ticket on the federal level. Hi, it's all connected. I am the chairman of my neighborhood advisory board. It is not a paid position. I was appointed by my city councilwoman. But the money that we get to allocate within the community to help with senior services or to help people learn English or to help with the Boys and Girls Club, that money comes from the federal level. So it affects us on the local level, okay? These are all interconnected things. So we can't say, well, I don't care about the federal level. I'm just gonna focus on my local elections. Local elections are critical. Local elections are important, but you cannot separate them. Do you know what else is happening this year? The census. The census is going to be done early at the end of September, which by the way, should be, I'm gonna cuss, a fucking scandal. It's a fucking scandal that the census is gonna be done. Census allocates representation and money to fix roads, for healthcare, for children's insurance. And Trump is trying to cut it short so that Black, Native, Indigenous, Latinx, Asian communities are screwed over. That's what he's doing. And by the way, if our media like had a clue, they would know how to talk about this, right? But because there's a lack of representation in media, they don't know how to talk about this. Really, I don't see it. I watch a decent amount of CNN and MSNBC. They don't know how to talk about it, okay? So what else happens? After the census is done, what happens in 2021? Most state legislators are in charge of redrawing their districts. We can see what a critical function that is. Wisconsin was so gerrymandered in 2011 when Scott Walker was there. He asked the guy who was in charge of some of the worst gerrymandering in America to help him create maps in Wisconsin to screw Black people out of power. Really. They can vote at a 90% threshold for Democrats and still get a minority of seats. Do you understand? This is a crisis that is happening. This is like a crisis that is happening. Okay, but we can fix it. But guess what? We only have 8 weeks to fix it. Oh, I froze again. Okay. Well, let me try to, I'll go slow for a second. I don't know why my internet is this bad, but I'm going to, tell me when I'm not frozen. Tell me when I'm not frozen. Okay. Let me know. I think I'm not frozen anymore. Okay, thank you very much, Mel. This is a crisis, and we only have 8 weeks to fix this crisis. And that is what's horrifying. 8 weeks. So if your friends or family are saying, I'm not really that jazzed about this ticket, that's a real point of privilege to say that. Does that mean that you're going to be okay if Donald Trump gets elected again? Do you know how emboldened he'll be if he wins again? It makes me sick to my stomach. And I know that people are busy, and I know that people don't have time to, thank you, David. I know that people don't have time to always be so focused on the election, and I do, so I can look to see what's happening. Let me tell you, let me bring up Wisconsin again, because this is going to be a critical state for the Democrats to win. They are trying to make sure that Tony Evers, who is their governor right now, is basically without power until Scott Walker tries to come back. Scott Walker's trying to become the governor again. So he's trying to make sure that they hold on. I mean, do you understand how nuts this is? They're trying to hold on to power in Wisconsin. Republicans have the power there, their state legislature. They're not budging. They're harming Black communities. They have the highest rate of Native Americans in prison currently. So many gross things are happening in Wisconsin, and very good people. I've talked to a bunch of people from Wisconsin, great people. But their government is screwing them over. Their Republican government is, okay? Yes, vote. So we have 8 weeks. And in those 8 weeks, what can we do? In those 8 weeks, we can tell people, this isn't about your feelings. This is about keeping a democracy or losing a democracy. That is it. That is our choice. You're going to keep a democracy with Joe Biden, or are you going to lose a democracy with Donald Trump? It's that dire. People criticize me sometimes because of how serious I can be or serious I act. Because this is serious. I like to be silly. I'm a super goofy person. But this is a serious election right now. And I want people to really understand that. This is about keeping a democracy or losing a democracy. That's the choice. This isn't about feeling. This is not about your feelings. I don't care if you didn't like this or that or whatever about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. You can talk about that once they get elected. You can force them to do the policies that you want. You can run for office and hold them accountable. If you don't like what they do over the next 4 years, you can hold them accountable at midterms. You can hold them accountable in 4 years. But at least you'll have a shot to still have a democracy and have a say, to have a voice still. Do you understand? But you will not have that with Trump. And the people that are like, we can burn it down. These are not brave people. Those aren't brave people saying stuff like that are willing to sacrifice other people's lives. Those aren't brave people. Those are cowards. Those are selfish people. Those are solipsistic people. Okay? Because our country is interdependent on each other. I live in New York State, and some of our taxes goes to pay for other states. That's how it should be. If we have an excess here, we help other states. We pay into something. We all are paying into something. And we want to get that back, and infrastructure and good, healthy school systems. But we don't have a shot at improving any of that if we don't vote for Joe Biden. So I will say this. Early voting is going to be starting. It starts soon. It starts on the 18th for a couple of states. And you can go ahead and get your ballot now. And you can mail it in, or you can walk it in the majority of states. You can track it in a majority of states. Voting is the only way we can stop Trump. And by the way, I'll say some good news. How about some good news? Trump is panicking. Trump is panicking. He's down by 10 points in the across the board in polls. He's down in swing states by about 5 points in some polls. He's in a virtual tie in Florida. If Joe Biden really starts gaining in Florida, Trump's done. Done. Okay? So he's doing everything he can. By the way, let me tell you really quick before I wrap this up. Trump has lost a lot of money, and he is trying to reinvest his own money that he got from Putin and Deutsche Bank. 56 days. Trump is in danger of losing. So you know what's happening right now? $20 million worth of lawsuits. Republicans have filed over 41 cases. Okay, what are they trying to do? I'm going to tell you what they're trying to do. They're trying to block state efforts to expand access to vote by mail. They're trying to stop counties from sending out absentee ballot applications. They're trying to ban states from using ballot drop boxes. They're trying to stop counties from opening more polling places. They're opposing providing voters a chance to cure alleged voter mismatches. They're discarding ballots by election day they want to discard ballots cast by election day. Okay? And they want to deploy an army of election day poll challengers to intimidate voters. My God. By the way, this is all Mark Ellis's work. Follow Mark E. Ellis. It's MARCE Ellis on Twitter because he's doing fabulous work. He's a lawyer, and he's trying to stop all these lawsuits. He's suing. So Republicans are going out of this way, as someone just said, yes, to rig elections. They are trying to rig the election. Republicans are trying to rig the election right now. Do you understand? They're behind the scenes. So you're going to see me get a little bit bitchier online. You're going to see me get bitchier online when I see you as people do what you want, right? If you're not in a position of like great power or authority. But if I see representatives doing cutesy videos or wasting their time, like I got mad at AOC when she did a makeup video. I don't care that she did self-care. I love to care about my skin. But this is not the time for that. Now, if she was doing that and she was talking about voter suppression, if she was talking about the election being rigged, if she was talking about this coup that we're in the middle, I'd be fine with that. It'd be a clever way to go about it. I was frustrated with the fact that she was talking about the pink tax, which is important, but not as important as this election right now to deal with the pink tax. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to be a little petty and a little bitchy about how representatives and how the media should be talking about this election right now. Some of the media is still treating it as if this is a normal election. Yes, they're going after Kamala really hard right now. Yeah, they're trying to. It'll be fine. She's a black woman in America. She knows how to handle herself. It'll be okay. And we've got her back, right? We've got to have her back. What I'm saying is right now, Republicans are throwing everything at this election. They're doing everything they can to knock off voters. And I'm going to tell you this, and I said this on Twitter. The ballot rejection rate in 2016 hovered around 1.2 to 1.4%. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's tens of thousands of voters. And PA in 2020 for this primary, I think in Philadelphia, they rejected 3.9% of ballots. 3.9. That'll swing an election if that many ballots are rejected. Okay? Republicans are hoping that there's going to be a high ballot rejection rate. They're hoping that there's going to be long lines so that you can't cast your vote. They're hoping that the purging that they've already been doing, check your registration, is effective. Okay? So we have to be vigilant right now. On your Facebook page, who's in charge of ballot rejection? Your state, your individual state compares. I'll tell you right now, the main reason for ballot rejection is because the ballot is sent late. It's postmarked after that election date, and so it's rejected. But your state comes in and they check the signatures to see if the signature matches, which is very strange and very arbitrary sometimes, but that's how it gets rejected. And if your local state people are. But a lot of places, you're able to get a notification that your ballot's been rejected. You can also call to see if your ballot's been rejected. It's called curing your ballot. That means you can go fix your ballot. If your ballot's been rejected, you can tell them that you're going to vote in person. That's legal to do. If your ballot's been rejected, you can go place it in person, okay? Be careful with mainstream media, especially about polling. Okay, I want to say this about polling. Polling is scientific. Polling is real. We should believe polling. However, when you're looking at poll numbers, remember this. You look at the MOE, the margin of error. The polls for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were accurate because by the time that the election happened, it said that it was between about 2 points. They thought the 2 points was going to be towards Hillary, but the 2 points went to Donald Trump, right? So that was correct. What they've done different is that they realize this. If Biden is leading by 10 points across the board, the chances of him also winning the Electoral College is around 90% to 100%. If Biden is leading by about 2 points on election day, he'll definitely win the popular vote. That doesn't mean he necessarily will win the Electoral College. That is the difference. So now pollsters have taken that into account. They're going, oh my God, we've got to look to see the difference between the Electoral College and the overall number, okay? So believe polling, but know it's a metric, a measurement in time, okay? They always say, what's the number one thing that you should count on? Voting. You have to go in and you have to do your vote. You have to vote, okay? I would be remiss if I didn't add what Jenny Cohen on Twitter says a lot. She studies the voting machines in America. She says that if you're going to go in and you are going to vote on a electronic machine, ask for a hand paper ballot with a pen, with like a black pen to use that and do a hand paper ballot instead there. Not a provisional ballot, a real ballot that you would be voting on, okay? If they don't have a paper trail, ask for that, okay? I'm going to start doing these more and more regularly. Okay, polling can't account for surprises like James Comey. Yeah, well, of course not. Republicans are going to always want an October surprise. They've kind of telegraphed their October surprise this year. Biden's being investigated by a guy in Connecticut. I think he's the AG there. It's just total bullshit. We know they're going to be trying to gin up a bunch of like, oh my God, look how corrupt. When really, my God, come on. Trump and his cronies are so drenched in corruption. It's absolutely absurd. Okay? So I'm going to leave you all with this. Check your registration and check it often before the deadline cuts off. Get your ballot now, please. Even if, okay, listen to me. Someone says, well, Maya, I'm going to vote in person. Okay, get your ballot anyways, because you can get your ballot and not use it. People are like, how's that legal? That's not voting twice. You're just getting your ballot and saying, you know what? Ripping it up. I'm going to vote in person because you decide you don't feel comfortable. But at least you have the option now to vote through your absentee ballot and have it count early. This year is about voting early, people. That's it. Okay? A parent asked me, what happens if my kid spills something on my ballot and I can't use it? You can ask for another one. You're allowed to do that. And you can still vote in person. Okay? So again, I'm going to leave you with this. Please shut down conversations with people that are trying to spread disinformation on Twitter and Facebook or IG. Report them and block them. Don't engage with them. The trolls and bots are out right now to spread disinformation about this election. Just shut them down. Facebook is not being that useful. Twitter's being a little bit more useful. Vote early. Vote now. And by the way, I know a lot of people will watch this on the back end of the rerun. Please use your timelines to talk about voting incessantly. Be annoying about it. Text your friends. Text your relatives. See if they've gotten their ballots. See if they need help. And if you have questions, you can follow me on Twitter. And if I don't have the answer, because I don't have all the answers, I will point you to the person that does. Okay? Because we have to get rid of this nightmare in 8 weeks. Okay? So, got frozen again, but just wanted to say thank you for everything that I did catch. Oh, it happens. Thanks, Gary. Okay, apparently I froze again. It happens. But thank you, everyone, for catching this. Yeah, I think I'm not frozen anymore. Thank you all. I will be doing these more regularly. I don't always talk free form. I usually bring statistics in. And also, if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook and you have specific questions or you have answers, you have concerns, people have texted me, people have emailed me. I'm not bothered by that. I want you to vote. I want you to have the information. Okay? Thanks, all.